happy little games. Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the history of Mega Man Part 4. I can't believe we just started Part 4 and are still in the 16-bit era. Get to it quick. So let's get this show on the road. If you have been a fan of my channel over the last 3 years, then you know I am as thorough as a proctologist when it comes to these games. But a couple of games did slip through the cracks. No pun intended. The first one I missed was Panic Shot Shot Rockman, which is a pinball game released in 1992 only in Japan. This arcade game was very rare and not much is known about it. I couldn't even find any videos of the gameplay online. According to the flyer, everyone's favorite hero, Rockman, has taken a big role in prize machines. The first great achievement of the Rockman series here is Dr. Wily's voice. Since this game was released in 1992, it came out a full year before the 1993 Rockman Wishing Upon a Star animated series.
Come! Everyone attack!
Which means this pinball machine was the first where you could actually hear Dr. Wily talk. The goal of the game is pretty simple, with getting as many points as possible in order to win a prize. This is done by hitting either the target below Dr. Wily's UFO or the cards that are lined up behind him. The UFO moves back and forth across the playfield, which does make it more difficult. Like I said, this game is very rare in Japan, so hopefully some video will find its way online in the future. There was also a follow-up release the following year. The other game that I missed was 1993's Mega Man 4 for the Game Boy. Similar to previous Game Boy outings, this game recycles many elements from previous games, with this one taking bosses, levels, and enemies from Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5 on the NES. The game takes place in the year 20XX, sometime after Mega Man has defeated Dr. Wily and his third group of robot masters. At the annual World Robot Exposition, Dr. Wily has used radio frequencies to control all of his robots with one exception: Mega Man. As Dr. Wily distributes 8 of his robot masters, the Blue Bomber must take them all down and confront Dr. Wily once again. The core gameplay remains the same for all die-hard Mega Man fans, with your Mega Buster able to fire small shots and also larger charged blasts. After clearing 2 of the robot stages, you will have access to your faithful canine friend Rush, who has his Rush Coil for getting to those hard-to-reach places. He also has his Rush Jet for crossing large distances. In each of the 4 stages are plates with the letters B, E, A, and T, which spell out beat. If you collect all 4, you can call upon Beat to help you out by attacking enemies. The latter 4 stages contain plates with the letters W, I, L, and Y, spelling out Wily. The Wily letters are required to progress through the rest of the game, but they are easier to find than the Beat letters. This game also has hidden passages where Proto Man will leave behind items such as super tanks that refill all weapon and health energies. Also introduced in this game are P-Chips, which is the form of currency that can be used at Dr. Light's shop to purchase upgrades. The graphics are top-notch, especially the opening cinematics, which definitely needs to be viewed at least once. The controls are as tight as ever and everything fits like a glove. Be sure and check it out if you've never had the chance. In 1995, Rockman X3 Buster Battle was released for the short-lived Design Master Senshi Mangajuku by Bandai. This was a portable gaming unit geared towards children that also had the distinction of being the first ever touchscreen gaming system. The unit only had 8 games released for it, with only 4 of those considered games and the rest made up of art design cartridges. The unit reminded me of the VTech handheld device that came out in the 2000s, which my kids absolutely loved. There were 2 different Mega Man X Buster Battle cartridges released for the system. The first one is the game cartridge, where you can choose between regular X, Armored X, or Zero. You then insert several parts into them. It scans them in, and when done, it gives your character stats based upon what you put in. You don't know what each individual part does though. You then use your character against other robot masters. The other cartridge that was released is the manga cartridge, which gives you a few blank pages so you can create your own flipbook story. You can either do it by hand or use the provided stamps and backgrounds to make your own story. All of the game ROMs have been dumped, but so far there is no emulator available.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
あのアクションゲームで大好評のロックマン X シリーズがついに32ビット機に登場。ロックマン X3 定評の爽快感あるアクションに今度はなんとアニメーションがドッキング。さらにリアルに、そして臨場感のあるアクションがプレイヤーを魅了する。 X を強化するパワーアップパーツや登場マシーン、ガイドアーマーの進化、そして X の侵入でプレイヤーキャラとして人気の高いゼロの登場。好評のシステムはそのままに全てをパワーアップしたロックマン X3。
Early in 1996, the third game in the Mega Man X series was released for the Super Nintendo. The game takes place sometime after what unfolded in Mega Man 2, where X and the rebuilt Zero defeat the Maverick Sigma. The Maverick Rebellion is stopped due to the technology of Reploid scientist Dr. Doppler. The reunited Mavericks form a utopia near the scientist and were living peacefully until they suddenly went bananas and caused mayhem. Having thought Doppler was responsible, X and Zero must defeat the 8 Maverick leaders and foil the mad scientist's plans. For the first time, Zero was now a playable character, which was the original plan going all the way back to the first Mega Man X. The gameplay is only somewhat different, with the Blue Bomber still able to run, jump, dash, and cling to and scale most walls. He still has his chargeable X-Buster arm cannon along with special weapons. The wall jump is slightly easier to perform, while Reploids become more difficult to defeat. You can further upgrade X's abilities by collecting armor parts such as the helmet, body, legs, and X-Buster found in capsules on certain levels. The helmet armor will show a map at the start of the level showing where the hidden items are located. The boots will give X the ability to dash in mid-air. The gun will allow X to charge up one level and fire 2 powerful shots. And finally, the armor will automatically create a defense shield that reduces damage by 50%. This time around, there are 4 different ride armored vehicles, including a kangaroo, a frog, a hawk, and a chimera. The Maverick bosses that you face are Blizzard Buffalo, Toxic Seahorse, Tunnel Rhino, Volt Seafish, Crush Crawfish, Neon Tiger, Gravity Beetle, and Blast Hornet. As I mentioned, you now get to play as X's Ally Zero in a limited capacity. He can be called upon to take X's place on nearly any stage, but cannot fight mid-stage or end-stage bosses. If Zero is ever defeated in battle, you can no longer call upon him throughout the rest of the game. The difficulty for this game has been ramped up considerably, and I thought it was one of the more difficult Mega Man games in the 16-bit era. Capcom once again used a little extra power in the form of the CX4 DSP chip, which allowed basic scaling and rotation with wireframe graphics. This works really well, and along with the rest of the fantastic graphics, makes this the prettiest 16-bit Mega Man in my opinion. There are a couple of little secret items, including gold armor for Mega Man, which makes the game so much easier. You can also get Zero's beam saber as well. The controls are nice and tight, but the problem is everything feels just a little bit too similar to X2, and there were hardly any refinements to the overall gameplay. This was a major concern when the game was released back in 1996, with review scores only being in the middle due to this. It's still fun to play though, especially getting to control Zero, so if you enjoyed X2, you will love this game as well. In 1996, Mega Man had his first and only outing on the Sega Game Gear. In an odd twist, US Gold acquired the rights to Mega Man, similar to how High-Tech Expressions released the queef-tastic version on the PC. The game was developed by a company called Freestyle and was released only in North America and uses stages and bosses from Mega Man 4 and 5 with a little bit of number 2 thrown in. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I always feel better with a little bit of number 2 thrown in. The story unfolds as a vicious army of robots built by the dastardly Dr. Wily has overtaken the world. Having a strong sense of justice, Rock volunteers to be converted into a fighting robot, turning himself into the Super Robot Mega Man. The gameplay is very similar to Mega Man 5, with you being able to run, jump, shoot, climb over obstacles, and take out those nefarious enemies. Even though it's based on those previous games, there are some differences, such as Eddie and his store not appearing. Beat has apparently flown the coop as he is nowhere to be found. The ability to continue has also been removed, which really ramps up the difficulty. However, your friend to the end, Rush, is back helping Mega Man get to those hard to reach places. The bosses you encounter are Starman, Brightman, Napalm Man, Stone Man, Wave Man, and Toad Man. The graphics look nice, especially on an actual Game Gear. It appears as if stage layouts and sprites were transferred over one-to-one from the NES, but the smaller Game Gear resolution means everything is zoomed in, which results in a lot of blind jumps, which is very frustrating. I can recall getting this back in the day and loving the fact that there was a portable version of Mega Man that I could actually see, unlike the Game Boy version. It received mostly positive reviews and is definitely worth checking out if you are a fan of the Game Gear and also of Mega Man. Also released in 1996 was the follow-up to the first Mega Man arcade game, which was titled Mega Man 2: The Power Fighters. Running strictly on the CPS2 Capcom hardware board, this game could almost be considered an update because there isn't much new as far as the gameplay goes. You have 4 playable characters to choose from, including Mega Man, Proto Man, Bass, and Duo. Duo would make his debut in Mega Man 8, which would debut a few months after this game's release. This is definitely a tie-in, with Duo's ending telling the player to purchase the upcoming home game to learn more about him. Each character has their own attributes, which definitely adds to the replayability. They also have their own unique special attack, which is achieved by charging your blaster and holding up. For example, Mega Man has a Shoryuken type move called the Mega Upper, which is a jumping uppercut. Bass's special move is the Crescent Kick, which is similar to the Flash Kick performed by Guile in Street Fighter. Proto Man has the Proto Stripe, which sees him shoot a short-range burst of energy, and Duo has the Giant Knuckle, which is a standing uppercut that flings the enemy upwards and potentially pile-drive them back into the ground. Unlike the previous game, the Power Fighters all have 3 stories featuring a variety of robot masters from the first 7 Mega Man games. You have your choice of Search for Wily, in which the main objective is to locate Dr. Wily's whereabouts, Rescue Roll, in which the story focuses on finding and rescuing Roll, and finally Recover the New Parts, which sees you attempt to retrieve Dr. Light's stolen research. As you fight and damage the robot masters, energy capsules will be released from them. Some of these capsules are for points, while others will restore weapon energy or restore your health. After you defeat one of the masters, a number of these capsules are released at the same time, including one that contains the boss's special weapons. During a 2-player game, only the player who grabs the capsule first will get the special weapon. One item in particular will summon a robot helper. Mega Man will summon Rush, Bass summons Treble, Proto Man and Duo can both summon Beat. Another new addition is to the Robot Masters. When they lose half or more of their health, the screen will go dark and flash, essentially going into overdrive mode. Their attack patterns will change, with some masters even gaining new moves and new weapons. Some of the bosses you will encounter are Heat Man, Shadow Man, Elect Man, Dive Man, Slash Man, Airman, Pharaoh Man, Quick Man, Stone Man, and Plant Man, among others. The game is a lot more difficult this time around as the Robot Masters are faster and hit a whole lot harder. This should be considered Mega Man 1.5 as there really isn't a whole lot that's different from the first game. Again, it's still fun to play, especially with a mate in simultaneous 2-player mode. The arcade game is pretty rare, especially here in the States, but it was released as part of the Mega Man Anniversary compilation as well as the Japanese Rockman Power Battle Fighters. There was also a version released for the Neo Pocket Color entitled Rockman Battle and Fighters, with everything stripped down with the character sprites falling more in line with the 8-bit style on the NES. Don't let the graphics fool you though, as it plays fantastic. In late 1996, Mega Man joined the 32-bit revolution with the release of Mega Man 8 for the PlayStation and a month later for the Sega Saturn. Both versions look pretty much identical, but the one to get for die-hard Mega Man fans is definitely the Saturn version. There are some extras that make it worth your while, including a music and voice sound test, watching any of the full motion video at your leisure, and hidden bonus battles against Cutman and Woodman. This was the first game designed from the ground up for the next generation systems, and it definitely shows. The game introduces a brand new art style along with approximately 15 minutes of full motion animated cutscenes. The game was released on the 10th anniversary of the first game appearing. As the story goes, the game takes place in the year 20XX and shortly after the events of Mega Man 7. Two mysterious beings battle in outer space before crashing down to Earth, causing Mega Man to investigate. When he reaches the giant crater, Dr. Wily is seen flying away with a purple orb, leaving behind the damaged robot which he sends back to Dr. Light for repair. Once again, Dr. Wily sends a brand new group of robot masters to take on Mega Man. The blue metal hero must battle the evil forces of Dr. Wily while investigating the connection between the purple orbs and the damaged robot. Speaking of the cutscenes, I might as well get this out of the way. The game was great fun to play in my opinion, but it was also so spectacularly bad at the same time. What was so bad about it? The cutscenes. While they were animated nicely, the voice acting would make the TV show Full House Emmy-worthy material.
You got it, dude.
Dr. Light sounds like Elmer Fudd on acid, and he can't even get through his lines without messing up. Mega Man sounds more like Mega Baby, as it appears his sack hasn't even dropped yet. Just listen and you'll see what I mean.
What do you make of these?
These? Seems to be energy resources. But I've never seen this type on Earth. I don't know where this energy came from, but you cannot let it fall into Dr. Wily's hands. You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
But where is Dr. Wily?
That's a good question. We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
The gameplay is pure Mega Man and is very similar to the previous games, but with some refinements. You pick a level, fight the end boss, and earn a power-up for defeating him. There are only 4 Robot Masters available from the start, but after you beat them, the other 4 will appear. Similar to Mega Man 7, you start with an introductory level. The bolts return from Mega Man 7, but enemies do not drop them as they are hidden all throughout the levels. You use the bolts in the store to purchase your upgrades, but since there is a limited amount, you have to choose wisely. Certain upgrades will improve the Mega Buster or other abilities such as sliding or climbing up a ladder. Your canine friend Rush successfully returns with brand new abilities, as old ones such as his Rush Marine and Rush Coil having been retired. Each new ability is earned by defeating mid-bosses on some of the levels. The first one sees Rush transform into a motorcycle in which Mega Man can ride and shoot projectiles. The other one will see Rush drop a random item from Mega Man, which can either be ammunition or health. The last ability will see Rush fly up in the air and help Mega Man in battle by dropping missiles on enemies. The bosses you will encounter are Tengu Man, Grenade Man, Clown Man, Frost Man, Astro Man, Search Man,
Homing sniper. Ouch.
Sword Man,
Fire slash.
and Aqua Man, who is no relation to our superhero friends with the finny fin fins. Thanks to the increased resolution of the 32-bit units, the camera has been zoomed out a bit, making for a much larger playfield with objects and enemies easier to spot. If you thought the animation was smooth on the Super Nintendo, you will be blown away by this one. The backgrounds themselves are lush and very detailed with excellent use of color all throughout. The CD soundtrack is amazing and it goes really well with the rest of the game. Since it is on CD though, it does mean there are loading times, including halfway through each level. For those of you who refuse to upgrade and still prefer the good old NES, a demake of Rockman 8 was released by a hardcore group of fans. Taking what they could and squishing it down into the classic 8-bit system was a mean feat, but it seems like they did a really good job as multiple people recommended it. I've only played a little bit of it, but it's extremely well done, so check it out if you are curious. And that brings us to the end of part 4 on the history of Mega Man. I hope everyone has been enjoying the series, but there are more than a few parts to get to. If you have any questions or concerns on the series, please drop me a line. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, if you would love to support me on Patreon, please click the link below. Thank you for watching.